lovely people, welcome to Anthizo Designs. My name is Florence. Compliments of the season to all of you and a happy new year in advance. So today I'm going to be showing you how I manipulate my patterns to make these 3 different designs. I usually do this when, first of all, I am sure that I will not have a lot of problems and issues with my patterns, because if you do have one problem with one pattern, you're going to have problem across all patterns. So be sure that your pattern is okay and good. So let's get right into it. So for the first style, I'm going to do a basic princess cut. So I'm going to get my under bust and mark 1 centimeter from the center front and 1.5 centimeter on the side front. This is just to give it a little bit of shaping at the under bust. Connect it to my waist and to my bust line using my curved ruler. I'm going to get rid of any sharp edges so that it doesn't look pointy. Then the next thing I'm going to do is measure my armhole and get the midpoint of the armhole. This is where I'm going to cut for my princess. So I'm going to get the midpoint. I'm going to measure the armhole and then get the midpoint. Connect that point to the end of my dart legs, or you can also connect it to the end of your shoulder dart, but I'm going to connect it to the end of my dart legs. Now on that line, I'm going to get the midpoint again and go up 1 centimeter. I'm going to use my curved ruler to finish up to draw the princess curve. I'm going to tend my dart legs. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I did this for more shaping since this person has a bulging stomach. Now on the side seam, I'm going to mark 6 centimeters below and connect it to the end of my shoulder dart. On the center back, I'm going to mark 2 centimeters at the center back on the waistline for shaping and connect it back to the hip line and then to the neckline. This is going to give me a little bit of back shaping. Next, I'm going to go down 10 centimeters on the neckline and open it up for the dress. So for this, I want the dress to have a very open neckline. That is why I did it this way. I'm also going to get the princess at the back, measure the armhole, get the midpoint and connect it to the dart. Well, that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to draw the shape and make sure that it doesn't look pointed, so that it doesn't look like there's a bust at the back, as flat as possible. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna shape it with a curved ruler. Next thing I'm going to do is put my notch marks everywhere, because you cannot go wrong with notches. I'm going to just mark my notches and put as many as I need, not more than 6 though. So I'm also going to increase the dart legs for the back. Now I'm going to move my shoulder dart from the shoulder to the side seam. So that slash that I used, that's what I'm going to use to open it up, close the shoulder dart, and then be able to draw my neckline for the front. I'm going to close it back, but for now I just need to remove it so that I can style my neckline. So here I'm going to open the shoulder length, or increase the shoulder length by the same mark that I did for the back, and go down 5 centimeters on the center front and draw the neckline to the way I want. Now I'm going to close back that temporary slash to remove the dot. I'm going to close it and then put my notch marks on the center front too. So now I've increased the length of the bodice to the knee length. So I have my waist to knee measurement and my hem measurement, or the length of my dress. So this is the main thing I'm going to use to manipulate and get the 2 other designs. So I'm just labeling so that I don't get confused with all the many lines that are there. So I have my waist, my hip, and my knee and the hem length. Now on the knee, I'm going to mark in 1.5 inches to give it a knee shaping, so that it's not too shapeless on the body. It's not very pencil, but it's not shapeless either. I'm also going to mark 1.5 on the knee and draw a straight line, because the hem does not need to, the pencil does not need to go all the way to the hem. So I'm going to also connect from the hip line to the knee point. So I'm going to just connect that and smoothing any sharp areas that are there, any pointy areas, because the body is curved and not pointy. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the back. Go in 1.5 cm at the knee, draw a straight line down and connect it to the hip line. Now this is my finished bodice look. This is for the first style. There's the basic dress, very simple, easy peasy, just very simple. So this is for the first one, and this is what I'm going to use to get the other designs. For the second style, I'm going to cut the pattern in half. This is going to be a blouse, but I want to first of all do the manipulation on the first half and connect it back to the hip. So now I'm just going to cut it out. I have a little bit of opening there, but I'm just going to add a sheet of paper and close that back. It's going to give me a fuller bust. Now first I'm going to tape the armhole together so that it's a whole piece. I'm going to increase the neckline by 2 cm. Remember, we reduced it before, and extend the shoulder length by 1 cm so that it's closer to the neckline, to the neck. So I'm going to draw a new curve. Remember, this first bodice I'm holding here is just for my dress. So I'm going to mark 4 cm all around, because the style that I'm doing, this is going to basically be the clothing and the styling for this blouse. So I'm going to mark 4 cm all around and then connect the points. Now I'm going to mark 5 centimeters from the shoulder line. You can do the same thing here if you want, but you can also increase or reduce depending on the style that you want, and then connect it to the armhole. I'm going to add my notch marks because those are the most important to me. I'm going to add my notches and trace it out on the new paper. This that shoulder point, the 5 centimeter, that place is going to be lace, so I want it to be see-through. That is why I did that. That's the style. So it's going to be another fabric different from the main fabric. So I'm just tracing it out to be sure that I have everything that I need there. I have my similar ones too. I'm going to mark that out on the paper. Okay, the problem I had with this honestly was that the armhole seemed a little too small and had to increase it later on. So if you're doing this style, I think you should check if the armhole is big enough so that it doesn't become too tight on the client. That's just like the advice I have. Maybe increase the armhole by 1 inch or 1.5 inch depending on how you like it, so that you don't have problems later like I did. So I'm going to do the same thing for the back. I'm going to tape it using my notch marks. I'm going to tape the armhole so that I have a complete armhole, put it back on the new paper, hold it down, and then also increase the shoulder length to the same as the front, and I also increased the neckline by about 1 centimeter. That was what I did for the back. Then I marked 4 centimeters all around the same way so that the front and the back can match as much as it can. So I marked 4 centimeters all around, and then marked 7 centimeters from the shoulder line and connected to the armhole, exactly as I did the front. I'm also going to add notches to this side too, because notches are very, very important. So after tracing it, I'm going to cut the neck and then cut the shoulder. So I'm going to cut it out, put my seam allowances, because these two parts are going to be different fabrics, and I don't want them together. So just like the way the style is, I'm just going to cut them out, add my seam allowance. Cut them out and add my seam allowance. So the next thing I'm gonna do now is join the front and the back shoulder lines together. I'm eliminating the seam allowance because I don't want there to be any I don't want there to be any shoulder seams there. I'm going to just remove the seam allowance and tape it together. Remove any excess that I might have, because that does happen on patterns, and then mark my shoulder seam line so that I can match it to the main bodice. I'll also do the same with the neckline. Remove the seam allowance, join them together because I want them to be as just one whole piece as opposed to having a side seam. Remove any excess, and then any sharp points or deep neck parts that don't make sense, I'm going to use smooth curve lines to retrace it and redraw it. It doesn't really matter, it's going to sit better on the body and look better. And any place that's too sharp, I'm going to cut it out, just making sure that it's still 4 centimeters around so that it doesn't look wonky. So on the main bodice, I'm going to cut out the parts that I've traced, or trace it out without those parts that I have traced out on another sheet of paper, so that when I join them together they make sense. So I'm going to cut it out and then finish up this pattern. And do the same for the back too. Cut out any parts that I have traced. Make sure that you also transfer your notch marks. So I'm just going to cut out the parts that I don't need and then retrace them on another pattern paper, because I still need this full pattern for my dress. So now, because this is a blouse, I'm going to be tracing out the other half of the pattern, that is from the waist to the hip. But I'm going to trace it in such a way that I'm tracing the center front, side front, center back and side back on another paper differently, without them being together, and then add my seam allowance because my front already has my top half already has the seam allowance, which is what I have done here. It's a princess blouse, so I needed it to be a whole blouse. I'm going to join the top to the bottom, eliminating everything on our allowance on the waistline. So this way I have one full bodice. I'm going to do that for the front, for the back, and yep. And if your patterns match right, they shouldn't have problems. So on the side seams of the front and back, I'm going to go up 4 centimeters on the hip line, and then use a curved ruler to connect it to the dart mark, or to the dart, so that this is so that the person wearing this clothes can move freely. The hip is going to be tight if it's gonna, just stay like that. So that's why I'm taking it up. You can also take it 1 or 2 centimeters higher, but for styling, 4 centimeters is okay for me, and then connect it to the dart. Now I'm going to join them together so that they are one whole piece, and then cut it out. This is the finished pattern. As you can see, there's no side waist seam. So this is the full blouse that I have with I put a lot of bling bling on the neckline, so it's not really showing, but yeah. So this is the third style. For this one, it's only the center front I'll be manipulating. So I'm going to increase the shoulder length by like 1 centimeter, and then increase in this place I increased the neckline by 5 centimeters, but it was too high for me, so 3 centimeters should be okay, because I increased it by 5 or reduced it by 5 for the dress. So 3 centimeters increase is okay. I'm going to connect the neckline and then open up the v-neck, that is space for the boobs as the style that I needed, by 4 centimeters, and then connected it to my bust line. So if this pattern is on fold and you connect it, or you open the neckline by 4 centimeters, by the time you open it and put your facing, it's going to be opened by more than 8 centimeters. So be careful when you decide to open a neckline like this. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'll just open it by 4 centimeters. I'm not going to put any allowance for the facing, and then trace it out. I have a whole new pattern. I'm going to also increase the back by that 1 centimeter on the shoulder line, so that it can match the front, but I'm using exactly the princess back that I used for the first pattern. But this is my finished look for the third dress. It's very easy peasy. There was no surrender to it. I marked out what I needed for my facing at the front and the back necklines, because it's a very long dress and there was no need to fully line it. So this is my finished pattern. It took like literally 1 week to finish all the dresses, including the jacket for this beautiful dress, and then the trousers for the white blouse. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Merry Christmas to you all, and Happy New Year in advance. I really appreciate those of you that are subscribing to my channel. You give me so much joy, and from the bottom of my heart I am very grateful. I hope to see you next time. Bye.